Star Trek Strange New Worlds has finally come out with its second season, the first episode being The Broken Circle, and that is the episode I'm going to be reviewing today. So it is the season premiere, and I thought it was a pretty solid episode overall. There were some things that I thought they could have done better, definitely, but overall, yes, I'm just going to jump right on to spoilers, but there's a scene where Dr. Mbenga and Nurse Chapel have to fight some Klingons, and apparently they take basically some kind of drug, like a stimulant, something like that, to fight them. Here's my thing, they're doctors, and we've seen doctors use some kind of concoction with a hyperspray to knock people out before. Why couldn't they just do that? Just, constantly drugging the Klingons with some kind of sleeping medicine or something like that. That would have been so much cooler than them actually fighting, because it would have shown them being doctors and, the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm, so having them take a nice little sleep would make more sense. But they didn't do it. That's probably my only qualm with the episode, that they chose, let's have a cool fight scene with our medical personnel, rather than, let's show off the creativeness of our medical personnel. That would have been much more fun. But there's so many other great elements. Yeah, that's pretty much my only complaint. I'm actually happy that they didn't start out right away with Una's trial for lying about being genetically engineered. I'm actually happy about that, because that's how every other Star Trek show would have picked up after the last cliffhanger. Instead, they decided to create a roadblock, meaning to delay the story, that being Una is having trouble finding a lawyer. And so Pike decides to personally go and try to plead with one lawyer to get them to help Una. Okay, that's good. Create a roadblock. It also means that this episode is focused on every character other than Pike and Una, just a little bit to check in on them, what's going on, and then it's everyone else. I thought that was a great way of opening the episode. And then, of course, we get to see Spock command the Enterprise, which this might be the first time he's actually done it. And so he's a little unsure and all that. But also, some people might call this fan service, but this is fan service done right. So, in the last episode, when Spock released a lot of his mental blocks, his cognitive blocks that him as a Vulcan is using to help control and suppress his emotions. Therefore, his emotions are a bit more up there. He's actually experiencing things like stress, especially when Nurse Chapel walks into sick bay. I'm just saying. But Dr. Mbenga gives gives Spock that Vulcan instrument that we see him playing oftentimes in the original series. So with that kind of recontextualizes all those scenes. Yes, it's a neat little piece of lore, Spock is getting the instrument he often plays. But it's also recontextualized, showing that it's one of his methods of dealing with his emotions. He'll probably say, it's only logical that I use music in order to help suppress my emotions. He would do it in such a logical way, but we all know the real reason why it is, so it's actually he's doing it for the logical reason, but also by doing it, suppressing his the emotions that maybe are hard to control, he's calming himself, and being calm is a form of an emotion when you really think about it. But yeah, Spock has many great scenes. Though there is one scene I also do take a little issue with. It makes good sense emotionally and storytelling wise, but strategically it doesn't. Leaving the bridge during a potential battle with a Klingon battle cruiser to go check on Nurse Chapel, make sure she was successfully beamed back onto the Enterprise. No. And that's not the best strategic choice. Makes good sense emotionally in the story that they're telling, but from a real life strategic standpoint, it's not quite the best thing. But it also does make a little sense, because would TOS era Spock ever do that? Probably not, even with Captain Kirk. So what that probably tells me is he's less in control of his emotions at this time, and by the time of the original series, he has regained the control that he lost near the end of the last season. So it can make sense, but I wish they had done it slightly different, maybe some character, saying, we should have done that. I don't know. But overall, I did think that it was good emotional storytelling, good character-driven storytelling, just bad strategic storytelling, if that makes sense. And strategic storytelling is not the most common thing in Star Trek, so we don't really need to worry about it too much. But there's several other great scenes as well. We meet the new chief engineer, who is said to be over 100 years old, and this species I think is relatively new to Star Trek, but kind of gives me the same idea as Flint from the original series, but I'm thinking different. But one interesting thing about this her character is she's been stuck at Starfleet Academy and doing inspections that she's bored, and she wants to become the chief engineer of the Enterprise so that way she has something to do, so she's not bored anymore, which is just hilarious. So I'll just say right away, Spock and the crew do steal the Enterprise, and she catches up what they're doing, and she's like, "Ooh, excitement!" And so she helps them steal the Enterprise. Is just so perfect. But also, if that makes me think, if I remember correctly, Nurse Chapel and Uhura and Spock was the reason why the Enterprise was stolen in the search for Spock, but Uhura went on this participate in stealing the Enterprise, and so did Nurse Chapel in that movie, if I remember correctly. She stayed behind, but still, isn't I wonder if they had some deja vu about this. I'm just saying, because it's kind of hilarious that happened again, and some of the characters are, in fact, the same characters. Only two of them, but still, everyone often forgets about Nurse Chapel because she doesn't actually go on the mission, which, given the context of adding in Strange New Worlds to her and Spock's relationship, it is kind of interesting, but wouldn't be surprised if they do come to some kind of understanding that kind of explains the relationship that we do see in the original series. Hard to say for sure, but it is something interesting to know that how this episode is recontextualizing in a good way a lot of TOS and TOS era movie scenes. So is there anything else I could discuss? Oh, plenty, like how the antagonists of the episode have a kind of similar plan to the antagonists of the Undiscovered Country. A bunch of, in this episode it's mostly Klingon, but I think there's some Federation extremists who want to restart the war, not have peace. I do find that kind of interesting very much. It's a kind of borrowing a plot element, but it's doing it in a different way. Instead of being high political maneuvering on the upper levels and trying to blame people and all that, this is like, hey, let's just do something big and bold, which indicates that this is more the more stereotypically Klingon idea-led plan rather than more of a Federation-led plan. Oh, you know what I'm getting at there, but it's kind of interesting. Like some of the same plot beats, but it does show how kind of why it does. I think kind of help add some context of why so many both Klingons and Federation citizens during the Undiscovered Country were willing to conspire against both their governments to derail the peace talks. There's a lot of bad blood between the Klingons and the Federation, and the idea and opponents of peace have been working in the background for years trying to find any way to reignite the war. So I do find that very realistic, if you will. There's always going to be people who take qualms with two opponents having peace, and members of both opponents' faction also taking qualms with that. And it would make sense that there will be conspiracies to try to restart the war and the peace. So it does recontextualize it. In a way, it makes that movement less out of nowhere in the Undiscovered Country. But regardless, they still, I think, did a very good job with all that recontextualization of just small elements in the original series. There's a lot more I can talk about too. I have even talked about I forget her name. Why can't I remember her name? She's the reason why Spock steals the Enterprise anyhow, because she sends a distress message to the Enterprise, and everyone decides, yep, we need to go help her stop this conspiracy against the Federation. I've blanked her name, the one who's has the same last name as Khan. Lon is the name. I can't believe I forgot that. But so she's helping that one girl that they rescued from the go and reconnect with her family, and that's what leads her to discover this conspiracy against the Federation. It's nice and connected, but also provides a lot of unique and good character development for our main characters. Puts them in positions that No, they wouldn't normally in showing some of the more inexperiences and stuff like that. But probably the best thing is at the end, Spock is able to basically prevent a war by agreeing to drink blood wine with Klingons, which and the Klingons are like, you're no ordinary Vulcan, we like you, which is just so amazing. But it also kind of like I said, recontextualize the stuff in the original series, namely in the Undiscovered Country, which was a character that led the movement to on the Federation side for peace with the Klingons. Spock. I wonder if this experience taught him a valuable lesson about Klingon culture and how to approach them and make peace with them. You know, agreeing to drink with them, for example. And then Spock gets off with just a warning by Admiral April, basically saying like, okay, that Klingon hangover, that's enough of a punishment. But the real reason why he was let off is the Federation's expecting a war with the Gorn. And that's where the episode ends. So I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more going on with the Gorn in the rest of season 2. And I have a feeling next episode will be Una's trial, but we just gotta wait and see. Anyhow, I do hope you enjoyed my review. I also would love to hear your thoughts on the episode The Broken Circle in the comment section down below. So thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are, live long and prosper. Thank you for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, upvote, and share the video. Also consider subscribing and following the channel if you haven't done so yet, and to ring that bell on YouTube to get notified of when new videos release. The link tree in the description links to all my social media. Check it out if you are interested, and once again, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you, always.